So, you want to bag your Honda Accord. Hello and welcome to another video. We have another addition to our platform here at So You Want to Bag Your. So, the Honda Accord is actually a mortal enemy ng ating Toyota Camry. I'm just kidding. Pero, yes, it is actually in the same class as the Toyota Camry natin na demo car. This is a long, full-size sedan ng Honda. The Accord has been here for a long time. 90s pa lang, nandyan na yan. Bata pa ako, iba na itsura niya ngayon and everything. And yeah, this Accord has a V6 pa rin. And it's bag slammed to the floor. Done by yours truly, Fitment engineering team. Thank you sa boys natin for doing this car. And I really have to highlight because the owner of this car is proudly Japanese. So I have big respect for Japanese people and their quality, the way their discipline. I like it. I actually adapt and adopt one of their qualities for work. We have this Accord right here. So it's all black and it's just sitting on 20s and this car is surprising. Sa kotseng ito, dito nyo makikita yung transition ng Honda from a Japanese standard to a European standard. And you'll see why if you want to know more kung bakit ganun ang nangyari sa kotseng ito. Keep watching. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, like and share the video, hit the bell icon for a notification. And we will discuss the under chassis of this car where we actually see the transition point ng kotseng ito. And why is the rear actually very quirky and very underrated and over-engineered? So, strap in your thinking hats and let's actually dive into the Accord's under chassis and the system layout ng kotseng ito for air suspension. Okay? I need your ears, lend me your ears, and strap in your thinking hats as we dive into it right now. Hello and welcome to the front side of the suspension ng Honda Accord na ito, which is a latest model. I don't know the chassis code. I'll probably have the chassis code on the intro. Pero let's get right onto it. This is actually a modern Honda front suspension similar to the Honda CR-V, which is actually kind of a Euro type na. You can see na hindi na siya katulad nung dati sa baba na may camber bolt na dalawang bolt. This actually is like a European standard where they insert the shocks on the knuckle of the suspension. This is actually a weird transition from Honda that they actually did. And you can see now with the FE series ng Civic, they've gone full Euro. Okay, but that is not the topic for today. Our topic for today is that it's actually on-air suspension. Okay? We have a McPherson type strut with a Euro knuckle sa baba. Okay? And we have a rotating shock. Ibig sabihin nun, when you turn the steering wheel, you actually see the shocks move. So when you turn the steering wheel, the shock absorbers actually twist and pivot on the axis. Sa Tagalog, pumipihit yung shocks natin pag kinabig yung steering wheel. As you can see, naka-turn tayo ngayon. Ge, papi, pa-steer nga tayo. So, umiikot yung ating bag. See? Kabig pa baliktad. So, our hose line is actually moving as well. As you can see, it's actually following the brake lines. We actually use the brake line as our guide because it's an OEM guide for us where the slack should be or gaano kalahaba dapat yung hose line slack namin para hindi siya mag-crimp, putol, at sumabit sa mags mo. Of course, we fastened it with a cable tie na lang sa lahat ng points ng ating brake line. It's pretty simple. Okay? So, our hose line naman is underneath the plate. So, it should rotate and pivot on that axis nicely. That is our front suspensions for the Honda Accord. Let's go! Sa likod naman tayo. Hello and welcome sa rear suspension ng ating Honda Accord. And right off the bat, we can actually say that the suspension on the back is quite good. It's a wishbone suspension sa likod, independent rear suspension na nakaka-camber forwards. This is actually very similar to a Subaru WRX, Lancer Evolution, at saka sa GTR kasi yung kanyang wishbone nasa taas. And mas malapit talaga siya sa Evo 8, 9, at saka sa GTR kasi yung kanyang strut tower is actually quite tall up there. You can see our bag is actually inside the tower. So, pag may mugs ka malaki, malapad, you won't be able to hit that. You'll hit the shocks instead of the bag. It's quite tight on the back side. That's one thing you need to know. We actually use our standard bag here na slim to accommodate the shallowness ng space natin sa likod. But nonetheless, this is actually a very good rear suspension. It rides pretty well. You have to take my word for it kasi nga independent rear suspension siya. It's actually a great suspension. As I said, very underrated car. It has good suspensions. So way to go Honda for the Accord. They really want this car to feel nice. I think they did. We actually followed the brake line as well. Ayun yung entrance ng brake line. And then, yun siya pataas ng ating airbag plate sa taas na yun. Okay, there's nothing much to say. Ang kailangan ko lang sabihin nga, yun nga, summary lang, masikip yung tower, yung torre sa taas, the tower at the top is actually quite, you know, cramped, and the rear suspension is actually really nice. For a car of this value, it's a win for Honda. Okay? Very, very good rear suspension. So, let's move on to the back side of the car, see the layout, and let's actually discuss yung ating system dito sa Honda Accord na ito. Welcome to the trunk layout ng Honda Accord natin where we actually place some lights on it so you can actually see kasi ang lalim ng trunk layout na to. As I show you, as I zoom out, there it is. A monstrous trunk layout ng Accord. We actually had to put it with a lot of wood panels, lahat of pinabrigate ng boys para meron siyang magandang flooring. So you can put stuff, see? And nasa ilalim yung spare tire niya, he still has a spare tire. And then we have our majestic system right here. Wonderful job by Christian and Jomar. Sila ang gumawa nito. Thank you boys sa inyong magandang na layout. This is actually from the GTR style. Ginawa namin ito sa GTR na R35 and we actually tried to incorporate it here. Ang ganda niya. And yeah, we have our fitment management system sa gitna. It's actually a 3P or a pressure sensor system. Similar to the Airlift 3P. Tapos it's actually ready for 3H, which is a height sensor package. So in the future, if the clients decide or the client itself decide to do height sensors, ready na to. It is actually a dual compressor setup. It's a surprisingly, it's actually a fairly light car. Pero since we have a big space, sabi ko, okay na. Double pump ka na lang, dual pump. Pero you can actually go along with a single pump package. Pero for, you know, for aesthetics purposes and for the peace of mind ng client, dalawa na lang nilagay niya para you can actually hear the pumps less kasi mabilis siya mag-pump pag dalawa. And then, syempre, you have a peace of mind kasi you can't have both brake at the same time. So you have compressors all the time. That's a redundancy, peace of mind that we actually offer. So, yan. This is actually the layout, looking good. Sabi ko nga kanina, ang laki ng layout or ang laki ng trunk ng Accord. Sobra. This is actually bigger than my Camry. And that comes with a lot of benefits kasi even though we ate around 1/4 lang ng space, it's still huge, di ba? It's not going to take a lot of space and since hindi rin nare-recline yung back seats, we figured doon na lang ilagay yung system sa likod. Ang ganda pa ng position niya doon. Snug yung tangke sa likod and the system is just sitting pretty there as it actually just looks at you. Ganda, no? That is all we need to discuss sa likod. There's nothing more. So, yun. Let's actually drop the car and let's actually discuss the final thoughts about this Honda Accord na latest model. Okay? Hello and welcome sa outro ng coaching ito. The car is back on the floor and my phone died. So I'll be using the inboard remote to control the car. But yes, the discussion is, sa unahan, you saw na it started doing the in-shock knuckle type na ginagamit sa mga Volkswagen, Audis. You actually see that on European standards and we actually saw how they transitioned from a Japanese style standard to a European and it's very prominent now sa Civic FE models nila. And yeah, that's just life. You have to adapt, di ba? And this is how Honda actually responded to the change in their market, okay? Front suspension is a McPherson strut. The rear is actually a wishbone independent rear suspension, similar to a Lancer Evolution at Nissan GTR, and it's just an over-engineered piece of suspension sa likod. And it rides well. This car actually rode pretty well. You have to take my word for it, as all videos should be. So surprisingly, the Honda Accord is actually not a heavy car. Despite having a V6 sa unahan, the car actually uses only 50 PSI sa unahan and around 35 PSI sa likod for a driving preset. So racing up the car right now, You see, this is the preset 3. Okay, it's quite high already. But we can actually lift the car even more sa unahan after the preset. Okay. Alright. On the trunk layout discussion natin, we actually utilize 2 pumps. Okay. It's more than what the car needs, but it will actually keep the compressors at the minimum time charging. So this is actually the noise inside the cabin. And I'm pretty sure the car is way up in the... Yep, taas na niya ngayon. This is utilizing stock suspension, so you're not surprised. A full 4-finger around, you know, this is around 60 mm. Okay? 15, 30, 45, 60, yeah. 60 millimeter of lift, okay? Around 4 inches. Oh, sorry. Around 3 inches of lift. 60 millimeters, 4 fingers, harap, and that's actually, you know, you're able to clear obstacles with that, obviously. And of course, we don't want that height. Okay? That's for traversing lang. This is the preset 3 for a lifted height. Ito yung P2. This is riding height. And this is the lowest height it can go. Okay? So the Honda Accord is quite light, as I've said kanina. Surprised. I was really surprised how light the car was. It's actually as light as the Camry. The Camry is not that heavy. Surprisingly as well. So let's drop the car to the floor and actually discuss the under chassis conclusion ng coaching ito. Now that the dynamics of the car is discussed, let's actually talk about the car itself. The Honda Accord. Is it a good stance platform? Honestly, it looks good. But there's a caveat. You don't see much of these cars around. If you're gonna use this car for stance, you can stand out. Kasi ikaw lang ang naka-Accord na naka-bag. Kukunti lang kayo, or probably yung mga ibang naka-Accord, sobrang other old models na. I haven't seen an Accord this year model na naka-air suspension sa ngayon. So the Accord did not actually hit the market that well. And that's actually a pretty obvious situation back in Honda in the day because of the rise of the SUVs back in 2016, 17, 18. There were an influx of SUVs and that actually killed the market, not only for the Honda Accord, but for the Toyota Camry. That's why also our Camry, our demo car, doesn't have much prominent or presence sa streets ng Pilipinas. So the Accord is a long friend ng Honda, and I understand the reason why they keep going for it still with the V6 nandito pa rin. It's just sad that hindi na tayo nasa age of the sedans. That's just reality. People want a big car, reliable, comfortable. Those cars really evolved, and that killed this car's market. But if you're looking for stance, it's up to you. As I've said kanina, they're pretty few in the market or in the streets. So if you want to stand out with a bag slam to the floor Accord, that's something that you can do. Oh, by the way, tinesting namin yung mags ng Camry dito. Ito yung itsura niya. And ito naman yung naka-20s. What do you think? Does it look better with this wheel on 20s or the work shirt? Okay? So comment down below. That is all the time we have to discuss the Accord. There's not much to linger around. Wala na. This is it. Okay? Thank you for watching. Please like the video, share, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon for a notification. We are still continuing. As we can see, I can actually see na napupuno na natin yung catalog natin. Yung mga kotse sa Pilipinas, nauubos na natin. Nasa catalog na natin halos lahat. And then that's really nice, okay? So I hope this video helps. If you have an Accord, here you go. If you don't have an Accord, I hope you learned something from this. Konting history lesson, konting information about the Honda Accord, and so that is going to be it. I'll see you in the next episode as we find another car to platform na wala pa sa ating catalog. I'm pretty sure madami pa, pero we are hitting that mark already. It's been Khan for Fitment Engineering, and you're watching Fitment TV. So you want to bag your Honda Accord. This is how. I'll see you soon. I'll see you in the next episode, and goodbye.